And in this video, we're going to be talking about MAVADO'S ambushes and just talking about how they work, because they're a part of MAVADO'S toolkit that is kind of confusing. The rest, like this summon, makes sense. Even this ambush, amazing trap, crazy move, it makes sense. You know, he throws out the trap and it'll hit people and they start to die. But the rest of his moves are kind of weird, because as you can see, even if I try to input them now, they just don't come out. So these moves are context or situation dependent. So as you can see, if my opponent is airborne, they can all easily come out here no matter what. And they depend on what kind of hit stun the opponent is in. And even then, it's not as simple as you might think. Because say for example, I have my down 2 here. From that, I can press up Kameo and I get this nice little launcher. It's pretty great. If I time it correctly, I can get a nice juicy combo afterwards. The same goes for the forwards one. So if I tap forwards Kameo after a little bit of recovery, I can get a bit of a combo afterwards. Very nice. Down Kameo also works, but I have to wait a little later for the opponent to be grounded. Then I can go for my down Kameo, which is the OTG move. Which makes sense. The up and forwards cameos are meant to be used for juggles, so it makes sense that they work when the opponent is in the air. And the down one only works when the opponent is on the floor, because it's meant to hit floored opponents. And that kind of makes sense as a base. But then if you try to start lathing some combos, you might run into some weird roadblocks and like see, why couldn't I go into my ambush there during my aerial string? Well, I can do it after the aerial string, and as you can see, it comes out easily after the string. But for some reason, the different moves have different, like, hidden characteristics of when they're allowed to come out. And unfortunately, you just have to practice and learn it. There is absolutely no rhyme or reason as to what can come out where. It seems like every move has its own, like, designated value of what's allowed to be ambushed out of it. So, like this string, for example, I can't do the up Kameo throughout the whole thing. But my 3-2 string, I can input him after the 3, and then he comes down in the middle of the string. So for some reason there's like a gap where he's allowed to be summoned there. This applies to some of the grounded strings as well. Say my back 3-4. If I'm just mashing forward Kameo right now, you would imagine that the Kameo would come out as soon as the opponent becomes airborne. But no, it only comes out when Rain starts to be able to walk forwards, like when he gets out of the recovery of the move. Unlike 1-1-4, which as you can see, he comes out immediately as soon as Melina goes airborne, he'll come flying out. And Rain is definitely not recovered here because he's standing there stuck in that pose that you can't even get a combo from it unless you cancel it. And then that becomes more confusing, because if I do try to cancel the move, then if I dial in the whole sequence of 1-1-4 into projectile, and I'm calling out MAVADO at the same time, it kind of changes the way he can be summoned, and it changes the timing of him coming out. So now the forward one can not really connect except for tight timings, and the upwards one just won't come out at all, or not connect at all. Which is really weird. So there's some way that your inputs and your own character's like action state is interfering with the way that MAVADO can come out. Like if I cancel into my portal here, I also am mashing up Kameo and he just doesn't come out, even though normally he comes out instantly. But the reason I think this is an input issue is because, as you saw there, I am able to do it. That's only if I do the input for the portal only when the 4 of 1-1-4 is coming out. I can't dial in the whole sequence and then bring out MAVADO. I have to have the button come out, then quickly do my portal input, and then quickly do MAVADO, and then he's allowed to come out. Which is tricky, and this isn't a situation where it's particularly important. But it's weird that there are these weird restrictions on how his inputs work. And they are not consistent. Like we saw that there are some things where you have to wait until the recovery is over, like that grounded string and this aerial string. And then there are things that are completely can come out at any time, like this, or this aerial string. Or particularly Geyser. Geyser is so strange that anything can come out at any point. You'd expect that if it's following the rules of this, that the MAVADO assist will only come out like now, when he finishes kind of recovering from the move, and he can come in and bustier in for a combo. But no, he can just come flying in the middle of it at any point in a really ugly fashion, so you do have to time this yourself. if you want to get a combo from it, which is easily doable. But it's so free that he can even slide underneath to get the grounded OTG version. So this special move is now just like so free that you can summon anything at any time. And I just don't really understand why there is this complete randomness into what like situation dependent mechanics are applying where. So yeah, unfortunately, these properties are something you're just gonna have to learn with your character. You're gonna have to go into training mode and see how the combos feel and how they work. Because even though you can kind of improvise stuff with Mavado throughout characters, I've played a little bit of Omni-Man and Melina now, and you can see what combo would happen. The inputs and the feeling of the inputs vary wildly if you're not prepared for it. Like doing this combo feels kind of weird because I have to mash up in Kameo, and then I would like to jump forwards, but I kind of can't really because I'm holding up until the last second and then I jump up, and at least I can get the combo there, but that's not a limitation I would expect. But once you've gotten over the weirdness of the inputs, these ambush attacks are actually really good. And this kind of like situation-dependent summoning is actually a strength of its own, particularly for characters like Rain and Melina, who have these projectiles that can put the opponent airborne. Like Melina has the enhanced low psi, for example, and there are a few characters that have projectiles like this. And this is pretty cool because Rain can actually get, you know, some conversions from these projectiles. Even from quite far away, you can get a decent conversion off of this thanks to this little blast, which is cool. And this means that you're not accidentally going to waste any Kameo meter, because if the opponent blocks the projectile or if they duck it and it just goes over their head, I can mash on the Kameo button and it's not going to come out at all. And I'll only get it if the opponent gets hit. So I only spend the meter if I'm getting my damage. See there, depending on the projectile, even from full screen, I can get a jump in combo. So it's a really good property to have on things because you can just get easy, like it's the opposite of a hit confirm. It just auto confirms for you. And then the same could apply for other things where you're just throwing out something and hoping the opponent gets hit by it. Like, for example, if you're throwing it at down 2 as an anti-air. Well, you can do the down 2 into the Mavado, and if it hits, cool, you get a full combo. This is just slightly different to other cameos like, I don't know, Kano or Jax, where you have to commit to doing them, and if something goes wrong, then you've just wasted some of your Kameo bar, but that doesn't happen with Mavado. And this can be really beneficial for a lot of characters, like say Melina here. This low psi that we have from full screen can easily now convert into a decent amount of damage, even from simple combos. And the low slide has its own plethora of strengths, but I think I'll leave that to its own video. This is mainly just talking about how the inputs are slightly stranger than you may expect, and you really do have to practice it with your own character. But yeah, the damage you get from these is quite high. So you may as well go into training room to see what you can get, because I think Mavado's going to be a pretty strong Kameo. But I guess only time will tell. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!